Board members, if we can get you to take your seats, we'll get started. It went quiet, but we'll get them to take their seats here in a minute. I'm ready. Okay. Welcome to our board meeting. I want to welcome everyone. Got quite an agenda today, and we're running a few minutes late, so we'll try to catch up. First thing on the agenda we have is Pledge of Allegiance. We have board member Bolter going to lead us with that. So please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Under employee recognition, before we go to Michelle Watts, Superintendent, do you want to, let's do Employee of the Month, please. Get you to turn the mic on there.
Good morning, board members. I'm really excited today to introduce you to Kim Wagner. This is somebody who you might not see because she hides in a corner of the basement. And Kim has been with us
over 27 years.
Over 27 years. And Kim has been, I've known her for almost 10 years, and she has been just one of those foundational people in the agency who keep us moving. She works in the mailroom, but I just would attach other duties as assigned to Kim. She's been recognized because she took on a really big project recently and did some organizing and support for our Employee Action Committee. And it was something she did on her own. It was a huge, huge job, and it's just made life easier for a lot of people. But Kim on a daily basis is pleasant and fun and hardworking, and I'm so glad that we could honor her in this way and introduce her to you as a board. So thank you, Kim, for all your service.
Look at that. Well, he said I had to go around and shake hands. Thank you. Thank you. I do. Thank you. Oh,
Well, that's a lot of fun. Next, we'll have Michelle Watts. You're going to introduce our new employees.
I am. So we have a couple new employees here today, unless there's some hiding, for November and December, and they'll come up and introduce themselves.
Good morning. My name is Christine Manning, and I am working in the special education department upstairs. I'm a new behavior specialist. I'll be working with Carol Anderson. I'm really excited to be here and to be doing what I love, which is helping teachers and students with behavior. I come from Spectrum Academy. I worked there for 11 years, and then I started as a paraprofessional, and then a special education teacher, and then an administrator principal. I loved working there and the experiences that I had there and the education that I gained from being there. Then I took off and consulted for a little while, and then I was asked to come in and interview for this position, and I've loved it so far, and I'm excited to be here and excited to work with the State Board of Education. So thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Tammy Long. I'm a compliance manager for the Title I program, and Dr. Rebecca Donaldson is my supervisor. And I come from the Office of Recovery Services. I'd been there for 26 years, and I'm really excited to be here. Thanks.
So we also have our new
We do, we have.
AAG, Michelle Buse. I'm getting it.
Michelle Buse, and my background is in education. I was a school teacher for 8 years and then spent 18 years at Davis School District as in-house counsel and took a couple of years off, and now I'm just delighted to be back to work again. Very happy to be back.
Is that it? Well, thank you for joining our team, all of you. Welcome aboard. Okay, next we'll have our board member message from the famous board member Spencer Stokes.
He was just asking if we'd skipped over that, so he's anxious.
Yeah. Well, the agenda.
Will you make sure you take really good care of him today?
He's under my wing. I got him.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I don't know why I'm famous, but at the close of a 4-year term on the school board, I know that many of you are going to just be so happy about this. But I kind of, as Lorraine texted me a week or so ago and said, hey, remember you have the board member thought in December, I got out some 3x5 cards and started writing down lessons I'd learned while being on the state school board and things I was going to miss and things, they were like heavy, weighty things like I'm not going to be able to ever go and get in the board members only refrigerator after this month to get a drink. And so that was heavy on my mind. I also want to give a shout out to Kathy and what she does with the art. I will miss every month seeing and looking up at the great school art that we have every month. It's been fun to see that, and I'm a little troubled by this. I think that's a BYUY on the board over there, though. I don't know how that happened. But one of the other things I've learned is that every single person is an expert in public education, because everybody went through public education mainly, and so every time we would sit in a subcommittee meeting or here at the board, I often thought I was the expert in public education as well. And one of the things I've learned over this last 4 years is no matter how much all of us think we know about public education, the teachers, the principals, the superintendents, the staff here at the Board of Education, they've spent their whole lives studying about public education, and they've been the boots on the ground. And so as much as you think you know about public education, they know a vast amount more. And for us as board members, I think we need to constantly remember that as we're sitting in a subcommittee meeting, grilling staff members about something that we think has completely been overlooked. But I can assure you, it's been thought about. They're just being polite and looking at us, trying not to say, hey, look, doughhead, we thought about that like a long time ago. So that is one of the biggest lessons that I've learned. And I don't know how many of you watched any of the services yesterday for George H.W. Bush, but Alan Simpson said, humor is the universal solvent against the abrasive elements of a life. And I think that is, no truer words could be spoken. The other thing that I would like to say, just kind of at the end of a 4-year term, I know when I first came on the board, I rushed to get here to move around the name tags, the name plaques, so that I didn't have to sit by Leslie Castle. And because I'd been told that Leslie was this liberal, and I needed to steer clear of her if I was ever going to maintain my, conservative bona fides. And about the third month on the board, it was just unavoidable. I got here late. I was forced to sit by Leslie Castle. And I will tell you that I never stopped sitting by Leslie Castle for the next 17 months that I was on the board. And she, like all of you, has become really a great friend, a true friend. I still enjoy my association with board members that were here, Jefferson Moss and Dave Crandall and Jennifer and miss terribly Mark Openshaw and Leslie Castle. So I want to just close with this one statement from the funeral yesterday. It was given by the Prime Minister of Canada, Brian Mulroney. And he said, as I looked over the waters of Walker's Point, off Walker's Point on the golden September afternoon in Maine, I was reminded of the lines, simple and true, that speak to the nature of George Bush and his love of family and precious surroundings. There are wooden ships, there are sailing ships, there are ships that sail the sea, but the best ships are friendships, and may they always be. So that's my thought. I'll miss all of you. I'll even miss seeing Royce back there, and I'll miss calling out Terry Shoemaker and say he's left the meeting. I don't know why he's left the meeting. But I will tell you that I continue to be blessed by the relationship of all of the past board members, and I know I will all of you as well. Leslie and I go to lunch at least once a month, and she's been a great friend. And so that's my board member thought. I'll miss all of you.
Okay, thank you.
You
Good
didn't have to
thought.
applaud, Scott.
I was close.
Good quote. Okay. Next, we will have our acknowledgement of our student arts. We invite Kathy Jensen, our education specialist, to come introduce the art.
Good morning, Board. Thank you for recognizing the artwork monthly. We do appreciate it, and it is exciting to see the artwork today. It comes from Cache County, River Heights Elementary on the west wall. Laura Howley is the specialist. The students read Esperanza Rising, and they learned about the importance of yarn art in the Mexican culture. These yarn paintings tell the story of the culture, and the students have created their own, what is important to them. I think hence the why. Board Member Stokes, I'll see if I can do a better job of curating these as we post them so as not to offend anyone. The yarn paintings told stories about what is important to me, what events influence my life, how can I use symbols to tell a story. And their prompts were, what is your happiest time? What is your saddest time? What is most important to you? Who or what has had a big influence on you? And what kind of symbols can you use to represent your story? This relates clearly to our two strands in the Fine Arts Core of connect and respond. Make connections between art and real life and cultures of the world, and then respond to your feelings about that artwork. On the east wall from Lewiston Elementary School, these are first graders who studied about spiders. The thing I like about this art project is that it was completely open except for the subject of spiders to the students. And they collaboratively decided that they would use the medium of collage and painting. And then they created spiders that were based on research that they had done. I'm curious about the number of legs some of those spiders have. These are first graders. They found that simple shapes could make the parts of the spider, and several students took time to add webs. So maybe those aren't legs at all. Maybe those are webs. I'm not sure. At the back of the room, Lewiston Elementary, also grade 2, so these are pretty young students. Mandy Sig is the specialist, and they were learning about maps and the symbols of maps and continents. They used the first letter of their own name to create an imaginary continent. They created a fantastical land of anything they could dream of and used symbols to portray their ideas. In adding detail, what the students did is that they aged the paper to make it look like an old map. They aged that themselves by tearing the edges and soaking them in tea. I hope that you will notice the permanent collection that is growing here at the State Board of Education that will, in the near future, be permanently hung from the high school art shows that have been purchased. There are many pieces throughout the building, and those who haven't been permanently hung are out in the entryway to the administrative area. Thank you, and thank you to the board members who are leaving the board. Thank you for your service to all of us.
Okay, hang on, there might be a question or two. Board Member Reeby? Oh, I'm using the wrong mouse here. Here we go.
We have had BTS in our class, in our schools, more robustly in the last 2 years, and I'd like to share with you that it has changed our schools. To hear ukuleles playing in the hallway, to have kids talking about ukuleles, to have kids having their art reflect what they're learning in the classroom. I mean, it's just such a great connection. And for our kids that aren't great readers or great at math, to have some other medium help make those connections more permanent in their brains has been phenomenal. So as I look at this art, and I love this art, I think to every day in my schools, how I get to see these kids reflecting what they learn in a different medium has just made such a big difference in the 2 elementary schools that I work at right now. So thank you for all the work that you have done.
Thank you. Thank you. We do have some scientific studies that show the very thing that you have talked about, that not only do the students have deeper learning and retain better, but the culture of the school changes, and the classroom teachers are happier as well. It changes culture. So thank you for making that comment.
Okay. Thank you. Next, we'd like to invite the Director over Teaching and Learning, Diana Sudrath, to come up and introduce our education highlight.
Good morning. I am really excited to present to you today 9 students from West High. These students just recently got back from competing in a national debate championship in New York City, so they can tell you a little bit about that. They're here today with their principal, vice principal, and the 2018 UHSAA Debate Coach of the Year, Moses Baca. And I know you'd rather hear from them than me, so I'm going to turn it over to Moses.
Thank you. Yeah, I want to begin just first by acknowledging the attendance of our Assistant Principal and Athletic Director, Rachel Townsend, as well as our Principal, Ford White. And of course, behind me, and you'll hear from some of them soon, some of our debaters who represent a broad spectrum of our team, which is large in number. There's just a few of them, but you'll understand a lot of them, of course, weren't able to make it here since they have their academic obligations to attend to. But yes, I am Moses Baca, the head coach of the West High debate team. I'm also the current president of the Utah Debate Coaches Association, and on behalf of our debaters, I thank you for this opportunity and this recognition. And before I yield our time to our incredible debaters, all of whom are much better at this sort of thing than I am, I just want to give a brief introduction to our team. Approximately 100 students at West elect to take a debate class. This includes a middle school class, an introductory high school class, and an advanced debate class. All debaters are expected to participate in competition outside of school. Most spend time after school preparing for those competitions. Last spring, West Debate won the state championship for the first time in the school's long history. We also qualified 4 debaters for the Tournament of Champions, a tournament held at the end of the season, which only invites the most successful teams that compete at the national level, a status more typically earned by students attending private schools with high tuition costs. Most importantly, our debaters are developing skills that help them succeed in the classroom and beyond. I'm excited for them to share with you a little bit more about our team. Before we do that, I just wanted to ask the board if you could show by a raise of hands those of you who participated on your speech and debate teams in high school. Okay, I see a few of them there, and I'll confess I asked that mostly for the benefit of our team. We participated in this activity as a game. Sometimes feel like an abstraction at times, but for them to see that policymaking skills that they're learning now ultimately translate into the real world is something that definitely interests us. We'll hear from a few of the debaters behind me. First Ariana, then Keon, then Olivia, and then Hannah and Madeline. After they're done speaking, I'll just ask them to step aside in case they're asked any questions. With that in mind, Ariana?
Hi, so I'm Ariana Meinking. I'm the speech captain at West. So I do mostly speech events. I do oratory, which is a 10-minute memorized rhetorical speech, and I do duo interpretation, where I perform a interpretation of a piece of literature with my partner that takes like 10 minutes. Now, I've attempted to organize more of a speech team at West because we are very debate heavy right now. And I think it's really important to try to shift into a really speech and debate world because speech is the part of debate that allows for expression, art, and accessibility. So it allows any student to voice their opinions in a passionate way while remaining open to pretty much any economic status because it's a lot less expensive to do speech than it is to do debate. But pretty much, speech kids use rhetoric, synthesis, and their acting skills to convert their beliefs into a form of art. And that is really what is amazing to me. As a speecher, there are many different kinds of speech events. There's impromptu, where you're given a random topic. It can be anything from the word chicken to a quote from LBJ. And you have 2 minutes preparation, where you give a 5-minute speech. It's really fun. Or you could do something like I do, where it's like oratory that is memorized. But pretty much, I love this competition where I go to these different tournaments and I give my speeches to different judges, and I try to spread my message. And that is really what is powerful about the speech and debate world. But I love every part of this process as a speaker, and I really want to spread this love to anyone who will share it with me. So, thank you.
Good morning. My name is Keon Venturi. I'm a senior at West High School, and that means that this will be my 4th year doing policy debate competitively in the state sphere and the national sphere. My freshman year, I only went to statewide tournaments. So after that, I decided to go to a debate camp at the University of Michigan, which opened up a broad spectrum of what is called national circuit debate. My first national circuit debate was in Las Vegas my sophomore year, and I found that it not only the competition was much more fierce because I had to go against private schools with tens of thousands of, not thousands, but probably hundreds of coaches, which might seem surreal, but is very realistic for them. That competitiveness and that pushing the topic to the bounds where you have to know every single aspect of the topic per year. So in policy debate, there's only one topic for the entire year, and thus you're expected to know every single thing about that topic. And so with that drive to do more national competitive debate, I, along with another partner, decided to go and commit ourselves to national circuit debate. So we decided to go to every single one that was available to us my sophomore year and my junior year. My junior year, I qualified and was one of the few kids across the nation, so there were only 70 teams invited, and was one of the few from a public school to be able to attend the Tournament of Champions in Lexington, Kentucky, at the University of Kentucky. I still commit myself to national circuit debate. Not only does it increase the competitiveness where you're required to learn more, but it opens up a broad community of not only teachers, but also peers. There are teachers that might get me into my dream school because they're professors at different universities. They might be able to teach me. I find myself opening up a debate file to learn about, simple macroeconomics because I had an economics lecture for this year, the immigration topic, while I was at debate camp. It opens myself to my peers as well. Kids who are willing to uplift each other and help each other, not in school, teaching each other about even math, which is not even debate related, but also just introduces academia in a way that is so empowering and inspiring. And which is why I think that national circuit debate specifically is probably the best thing that's ever happened to me and could be the best thing that could happen to hundreds of students in the future. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Olivia Hoffman, and I am the Congressional Debate Captain at West. So originally, I started debate this past fall. I was a novice. I really didn't have any specific entitlement to any certain event. I was originally in public forum debate, which is sort of like a nicer version of policy, and extemporaneous speech, which is sort of like a minimum prep speech event. So after a while, I realized that public forum wasn't where I wanted to be. I wanted something more. I wanted to play something that I wanted to be in the future. I wanted to live out my dream. So that's when, with the help of Moses, he introduced me to congressional debate, and it's opened a whole new world of possibilities for me. I dream of one day becoming a lawmaker, and congressional debate, it's essentially role-playing lawmakers. You get legislation, and you pass it through, and you go through the exact same motions that our congressmen and women go through every session. So that really enlightened me and teaches me more about not only the world around me, but just essentially the world around me. I understand politics so much more, and I have a better understanding of like what causes I want to fight for. So through debate and through speech and through all of the entire speech and debate community, I've learned so much about the world around me over the past couple months. So being a part of this amazing community has changed my life for the better, because now I'm finding newer and better opportunities to move forward and make a difference in the world. That's what debate is doing for a lot of the people that are standing before you today. We're making a difference, and it's important to support debaters because they will be the ones that are passing legislation in the future. They're the ones that are going to be making your laws in the future. So debate is especially important because those people are going to change your world in the future, and it's important to recognize that debaters are here and they're ready to make a difference, and we're getting ready to help all of you make that difference. Thank you.
Is it? Oh, we still have more.
Hello, my name is Madeline Gallion.
And I'm Hannah Rice, and we're a sophomore policy debate team at West High School. We're very passionate about this activity, and we work hard to achieve our goals within the debate space.
There are many different important skills that debate can provide, and one of the first and most important is portable skills that transport outside of debate and also apply to day-to-day life in school. I personally believe that debate has greatly helped my public speaking skills, and I know this is true for the remainder of our team as well. I also think that debate can help foster important critical thinking skills and allow you to pay attention and take better and more effective notes in class. I also believe that debate can provide fundamental skills that can transport into learning about the political environment in today's society and having important knowledge that you can use in assignments, tests, and more in school.
Another really important aspect of debate is the sense that it helps to build communities not only within one school setting, but like among different settings. It helps to build relationships between schools, not only in Utah, where we compete in like state tournaments, but also throughout the country, because we're able to meet students who debate and share common interests and common beliefs with us in other states. Debate helps to unify students that would otherwise not have as strong of relationships with one another, and our team aspect is very strong. We're able to help each other out, and we're able to portray our beliefs and strengthen our beliefs and our advocation of what we stand for to other people who are within the debate community, which I think is really valuable.
And I think a final important skill of debate is that it can greatly help with college applications. I think that there are two different aspects to this. The first one is that debate can help with college recruiting. Many recruiters from prestigious colleges will attend debate tournaments and they will watch rounds, and they can specifically ask students to attend schools and provide them with scholarships or opportunities they wouldn't normally have just because they are such skilled debaters. And another aspect of this is that putting debate on your college application is very important because it allows colleges to recognize that you have an incredible amount of success and a very good hard work ethic because debate is such a rigorous activity. And These are 3 reasons as to why debate is such an important activity that can help you to learn and become a better student and translate into real-world success as well. Thank you.
Welcome. Well, very good. We've got a few comments, so we'll start with, and you guys can all come right up. Yeah, yeah. Okay, we'll start with Board Member Lisa Cummins. Oh, is there more students? Oh, yeah. Let's invite everyone up. Were they going to want to?
Haven't spoken yet, but you can join us. Go ahead.
I'd like to see you let some boys.
Okay. Board Member Lisa Cummins, did you have a question or comment?
Thank you. Yes. Very impressive. I went to a very, very small school, so I didn't have a debate team. So I probably would have been on there if it had been available. But having advanced my education love of learning, have you thought about, and maybe this goes to your teacher, Moses, has the proper role of government and the Constitution been a discussion within there? I know that there's many students about policy and want, as future policy makers, you're going to impact me. And I want to know how you're learning the Constitution. It's very important. As an immigrant myself, I have to renounce my country in order to uphold the laws of the Constitution here in the United States. And what does that mean? And what laws am I upholding, and what is the original intent of the Constitution? Is that all approached and discussed in the classroom?
Yeah, so our policy debate topic is actually about immigration specifically. So I have, I think, 3 or 4 5 policy debaters behind me, all of whom are better qualified to answer that question than I am. Anybody want to volunteer? Go ahead, Keon.
So, while policy debate focuses on all the 3 branches of government, the affirmative that West High, or some West High teams are running, is about the Constitution specifically when it comes to consulate officers, not following specific judicial review when applied to consular officers in the status quo. So that's just an example of the affirmative case that we're running that allows debaters to learn about the Constitution and how the Constitution gets applied to specific immigration policies. Last year on the education topic, we learned about different rulings in the court and how that precedent has established different norms in schools that could be very hurtful to students. So we ran an affirmative about the Fourth Amendment in schools and how certain precedents in, for example, the Tinker case, which is established in schools, hinder things like freedom of speech or spills over to the First Amendment as well within schools. So we do learn about court precedent and especially Supreme Court cases that are used to interpret the Constitution.
So if I may,
follow up.
I would also look at the Ninth Amendment because it was ruled that the Ninth Amendment looks over privacy rights more so than the Fourth Amendment.
Yeah.
Also, do you look at the variance between constitutional law and case law and judicial bench ruling? Because sometimes judicial bench ruling should not create law. It's an interpretation of the law.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times we are using the judicial law in place of current legislative law.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a violation of the Constitution, but it's not portrayed that way.
Yeah.
So is that discussed?
Exactly. So the
Okay.
consular officer, the consulate's affirmative case that we're running is about how the Constitution does not permit consular officers to make certain decisions that they're making right now, and that using the Constitution to override what actions they're taking in the status quo instead of other factors that are taken through the process of the judiciary is important.
Okay, one more follow-up, Mr. Chair? Just one more, just one question.
We're
Just
not
one
trying to
question.
train them.
No, I just want to know if
One
he's learned.
more quick follow-up
Just one
because
question.
we have some others.
Because this, tell me your name again. One more.
Keon.
Keon. Have you also heard of Austrian economics?
Austrian economics?
Yes.
No.
I would implore you to review that.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Board Member Reby.
So I was listening on NPR how there's a tactic where you talk as fast as you can and that way you make as many points as you can. I was wondering if you guys have used that policy to win your cases, because I saw it in the last 2 kids, but I didn't see it in the first 5 kids, so I was wondering if that's a policy that you've been using to win your debates. Excellent, thank you for your time.
Okay, I've just got one other, and anyone can answer this. Now, what I know of speech and debate, you've developed these like superpowers on the communication side. I'm curious of how you, because it's a gift. You end up very gifted and talented as you have all these experiences. So do you ever find it difficult, or how do you cope with communicating and working with your other school classmates that don't have that advantage of your talented superpower skills of speech and debate?
Anyone want to take that? I get to witness those conversations, and it's very fun from a spectator's standpoint, but if any...
It's got to be fun, but...
Yeah. Go ahead, Olivia.
So for me, being relatively new to debate and developing these sort of superpower type things, I guess, it's a lot easier for me to come up with ideas on the spot and develop thoughts and further go into critical analysis over topics. Like when I'm in a group project, I can come up with certain ideas and sort of put my words together a lot easier than a lot of people seem to do that, since I've done like minimum prep speech events and things like that. But I find that although I am able to like put words together and come up with better ideas and go into better critical analysis than maybe some of my counterparts who don't do debate can. I still find that it's hard to like put words into ways that people that don't do debate would understand. So I use a lot of, I know that kind of sounds weird, but like I go into a lot of debate jargon a lot. So I'll like run off and say like I'd say a lot of debate stuff and arguments too, like just here and there, but.
So a lot of the students behind you are nodding their heads, agreeing with your coping skills to deal with this. Okay, well, thank you. We've got a couple other, Vice Chair Ellis.
I just wanted to admonish you to be soft on your parents. I had a debater son, and as soon as he got done with debate, every topic was an argument from my perspective. So, anyways, congratulations.
Board Member Lear, is your light on? Yeah, okay.
I recognize that these wonderful students and their wonderful teacher is in the district, one of the districts that I represent, and I am so proud to know that you're from West High and you're doing great things. And I might also add, following up on Elisa's comment, that sometimes this prepares you if you plan to marry. Sometimes your skills become even better honed in those many years of marriage. So I think you'll be really well prepared for that part of your lives also, if that's part of your plan.
Did you? I'm not seeing any other comments. Did you want to follow up, Moses, on anything?
I don't think, I guess I agree. I married a policy debater, so I see your point.
Okay.
But again, our appreciation for your time and recognition of what we do.
We appreciate you representing speech and debate in our state, and we're happy about your accomplishments and your drive, and we probably look forward to seeing a few of you on the Hill if you stay in our great state of Utah. So thank you for being here and what you're doing. Appreciate it. Okay, in the interest of time, I'm going to change the agenda just a little bit.